Hi, and welcome back, class, to another live stream of Animation Collab, where I experiment with new techniques in my animation laboratory in collaboration with other content creators. My name is Sonja, and I'm a motion designer. If you'd like to support me, you can subscribe if you haven't already. I stream every Tuesday and Friday. And today we're going to continue the collaboration with Andy, ROT169 on YouTube, and he creates cybersecurity videos, but I'll let him explain a little bit more about himself and the channel. Here we go. Andy, hi.
Hey Sonia, how's it going?
Oh, hang on. Let's try that again. Okay, your mic
Hey,
was
how's it
muted.
going?
Hi. Okay, let's
Cool.
give the people a very short introduction to yourself and your channel.
Sure thing. So, hey, I'm Andy. I go by the handle ROT169 on various social media because I have a very common name. But I'm a cybersecurity professional, and when lockdown hit, I was sitting around at home, not really sure what to do, so I've started making video content, primarily pushed out on YouTube, around various different cybersecurity topics. And the videos that I create are mostly focused for other cybersecurity professionals, particularly those that are maybe trying to pick up some of these key topics, are maybe early in their careers, or people that are just interested in potentially getting into cybersecurity in the future.
Great. Yeah, and just to sum up a little bit, the project that we're doing together is you tasked me with the wonderful challenge to create the design and the animation for one of your upcoming videos. And could you talk
Yeah.
a little bit on the subject of that video?
Yeah, sure thing. So, the topic is the Mitre attack framework, and this is effectively it's a bit of a database. It's a framework that talks about the various different types of tactics and techniques that attackers use to break into a computer system. It's not like in the movies where someone taps away at a keyboard for 5 minutes and suddenly the power goes out in a city. Hacking is a multi-stage process. There's no single path that a person would take in order to hack. It's quite a creative process itself, really. And so, whilst in my videos I cover off the individual specific techniques in quite a lot of detail and talk through how attackers use those to attack systems and then what defenders can do to protect their systems, what I was looking for is something that kind of ties all of this together. So instead of there just being lots of individual little videos about topics, I wanted something that would kind of bring it together and I guess kind of tell a bit of that story that I've just told you there around the fact that, hey, there's no one single attack, there's no pre-programmed path that everyone always has to follow. So that's really the sorts of stuff I was trying to get across.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so now we're going to jump right into the feedback because I've produced the storyboard for you in the past few streams. I've sent it off to you and you've had some thoughts. So let's have a look at your feedback. Let me switch to this screen. So this is Andy's feedback. The numbers relate to the pages in the storyboard, so we can have a look at that later on, which pages those are. I'll just leave this on the screen just for a minute to kind of read through that. So the first one is CVE label on the documents folder. The second one, add arrows. So I'm actually needing to check. I'm gonna have to check which graphic this relates to, but it's a good thing that you've added the page numbers. There's another way that we did it in the previous version of the storyboard where you left comments on the Adobe doc. And just thinking outside of this project, kind of in the general way of how to approach client projects, that's a really good way to receive feedback from the client. When you produce an Adobe PDF of the storyboard or of the moods or of the look and feel, whatever it might be, to ask the clients to leave comments directly in the document. That way they're linked to what you're seeing, what you're both seeing. They can leave comments directly linked to the graphic they're looking at, and it's not, it's not separated in any way. And it's totally fine to have a separate document like this. I've worked this way many times in the past as well, where you have a separate document, especially when you're looking at a video file, for example, where you need to write the time code of what edit you'd want from the client side, if there is a mistake maybe, or if there's something missing or something to be added. That type of thing works really well to be summarized in a document as well. So there are these two ways of doing it. And of course, there are lots of other ways to receive feedback. There are feedback websites where you upload the document or a video file and then leave comments, and they are linked somehow. There are lots of different ways, but the simplest ways that I found was either doing it via the Adobe PDF, Adobe Acrobat PDF feedback system, or via this type of way where you just write down all of your feedback in a document just in text form. So both of those ways work fine. So let's have another look. Link recon to the first column, including tag nicknames. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to compare your feedback with the visuals to really get an idea of what you're talking about. So let's have a look at the CVE label to the document folder. And I already know what you're referring to here. And that is this document folder. Is that right, Andy?
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned, we already had a talk about this before the stream, but I'll just quickly summarize what the idea for me behind this was. Actually, I am going to go to the previous screen because we can see the text there. So the idea was that this server thing is Mitre, and it creates the attack framework, which is this iconography here, which represents the attack framework. And the other awesome resources is this folder. So I think your idea was that the CVE label should be on this document folder, and this is actually the CVE. In my mind, because we needed the awesome resources and the CVE, I used the visual graphic of a resources folder or like a document for the awesome resources, and created a different graphic for the common vulnerabilities exposures database. So let me know your thoughts, your thinking behind why you wanted the document folder to be the CVE instead.
Yeah, sure. So the CVE, the Common Vulnerabilities and Exposures database is, well, I guess it's very much that. It is a bit of a database. There's not really a tree structure. It is effectively almost like a page of information for each security weakness or security bug that might exist in various pieces of software. I mean, you could almost think about it like almost like a telephone directory, and each page is a vulnerability. And so that's where, I guess in my head, I felt like that folder with the pages coming out just maybe fitted a little bit better with what it is. But at the same time, I also appreciate that there's nothing wrong with the imagery here. It's I guess it's mainly there to represent something to rather than just having like a blank screen, right, or a static image. I don't think that the concept that I'm trying to state here is really particularly challenging. We're just saying, hey, there's this cool organization that produces great resources, and one of the ones is what we're going to be talking about today. That's just kind of like the thinking there.
Okay, thanks for that, Andy. I'm just gonna check the sound because I just got some feedback from the chat that your voice has a echo. So I'm gonna check what's going on with that. Maybe I can lower the level here so it's not getting picked up. Maybe my microphone is just, or my headphones are too close to the microphone and it's just getting picked up. Okay. Do you want to try saying something again, and then maybe we can get some feedback from the chat?
Yeah, sure thing. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Is
Is
that any
that any
better?
better?
I
I
take it from your point of view, Sonja. You can't hear any echo in on my voice.
I cannot hear any echo. It must be the connection between mic and headphones. I guess my headphones are not as soundproofed as they should be.
You must have a super sensitive mic there.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Maybe I just turn down the volume on the desktop audio. And if you say something now.
Hello, 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 hello. Isn't that any better?
Oh, it's still being picked up. Sorry, guys. I don't know what to do about that. Let's see. Oh, okay. No, I know what the problem was. I didn't realize that Skype added its own voice thing. And I had turned on the desktop audio, so the Skype had its own audio, and desktop audio was on top of that. So
whoops.
Let's have a try again.
Is that any better now? Hopefully the echo has gone.
All right, we're gonna have to wait for just a moment because there's a little bit of delay between the stream and the chat.
Yeah, I've got the Twitch open as well, and I think I could hear it was okay, but let's just double check.
All right. I mean, we can continue talking, I think, and then the chat will tell us if it's okay or not. So yeah, I think your point of view about the folder and the circuit board makes total sense, and if you want I can swap those around, but then I'd have to find another imagery for the other. Okay, the sound is great, so we
fantastic.
That was totally my
thank
fault.
you folks in the stream.
Yes, and thanks for pointing that out. Okay, so other awesome resources. What kind of visual comes to your mind that could be replaced with the folder?
Yeah, I guess that's a tricky one, isn't it? And that's where part of me is thinking, hey, is this really a big deal? I think the imagery is really important in some, or it's far more important in other parts of the video where there's maybe a slightly more complicated technical topic that I'm trying to put across, and that imagery really helps. I think here, I'm not sure whether it's actually supporting too much, so I'm not overly precious about kind of changing what we've got. I think you're right. What would be that other piece of imagery? I mean, I think even that kind of like tree diagram that we've got currently for CV is almost like a network diagram, or bits of information linking to each other, which I think could still be a very valid kind of graphic for other bits of information. So maybe it is just a case of moving that CV label just to the bottom graphic and keeping that kind of circuit board or network diagram graphic as it is. I don't see that as being misrepresenting anything in any way.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is the folder is still more representative of the CVE, but the circuit board could perhaps become the other awesome resources. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. We can go that way. So basically, I think I'm gonna have to start with the very first one, which is this. Oh, I didn't do my nice clean setup as I was. So my whole thing during the stream was, okay, I'll keep all the graphics for each individual screen where the same graphics appear, and I just hide them away so that if I grab one of them, they're all gonna be there. And I think for this particular one, I missed one, or I didn't do it that way, but it's okay. It doesn't matter. We have the very last one, which is this one, which has all three of them. So basically, I'll just make the changes as we're talking about them. So basically, you want this one to be the CVE. I'm gonna do this differently, because I want them to be in the same spot. No, I can do it like this. I can put it here. I can align it to this. And that's too high. Okay. Yeah, I think I want the folder to be aligned with the little browser window. Yeah, looks about right. And so this is going to now not be the CVE, but the other awesome assets. So we can remove that, and maybe actually let's grab this and put this in the folder. Let's align it with this circle. And then, which one's the little white one? There we go. Actually, maybe we can add, I don't like how it's sitting on this gray background. That doesn't look as nice. Okay, so now the CVE are the folders, and this little circuit board thing is going to be the other awesome assets instead. Does that work better for you?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, I think that's
great.
really cool. Yeah, nice.
Nice. I'm definitely going to have to make some changes with this, because now it has this little space for the text, which is not going to be there anymore. So I'm going to have to adapt that, but I'm going to do that at a different point. But I am going to copy this over to the other scene where we had it. Actually, both of them. So it's this scene right here. And this scene right here. Okay, so I already created a copy of the storyboard file because I don't want to overwrite what's been there before. This is something that I mentioned in the past few streams, that especially after you get feedback from a client, you don't want to overwrite over your file the first version of your file, because your client might change their mind and go back to the first version. So you always want to have a backup. Every time you make major changes to your design, you want to create a new file to preserve those past versions. So I've done that already, and I'm just going to save over this one. And it takes a little bit of time because it's pretty heavy now. Okay, so we did that. I can put an X in front of this, and 19 arrows. Let's see, what's number 19? This one. Arrows for the attack framework. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, so I think at this point, the voiceover, is talking about an attacker using a combination of different techniques, and I wasn't quite sure what you had in mind in terms of the animation side of this, and I guess roughly in my head I was almost thinking it was almost like a battle plan. So like a handwritten, I'm going to circle one, then draw an arrow moving over to a next one, and then
I see. Okay.
a circle arrow, and that kind of thing is the rough kind of idea I had floating in my head, because I think it then also helps to articulate that there's a flow, there's like a process to go through, and then I think it fits nicely with, I think, part of the I think in a few further slides time we talk about the fact that although there's a general order of progression, it's not necessarily always just in a straight line. Sometimes you might need to go back to a previous kind of category of techniques in order to then move around something and move forwards. So that was just kind of like some of the thinking there.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So what I was thinking, based off of your rough storyboard, oops, which I just turned off, based off of your rough storyboard, I just thought these singular attacks or singular techniques could be highlighted one after another. But I actually like your idea of this battle plan of like arrows, and then this is circled and then back, and then kind of not in a straight line, kind of going forward and then going backwards into a previous column. I think I like that idea, and I think it's going to make it much clearer as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this half circle or quarter circle that I have over here, and I can make an arrow out of that. So let's add that to this design here. And we need arrowheads, and I think I can add that automatically with Illustrator. So I'm gonna go into my strokes and I can add an arrowhead. Let's see what I like. I want something simplistic. Where's my arrowhead? I can't see it. Hello, arrowhead. Where are you? That's strange. If anybody has an idea of why the arrowheads are not showing up, let me know in the chat. Maybe it just doesn't like this one.
How bizarre.
That is very bizarre. It's not showing up. Okay.
It's not a size and scaling thing, is it?
I mean, it is at 100%. Oh, okay. I think I know. Sometimes it doesn't allow me to do the stroke options when I have this rounded thing. I have to go to basic, and then I have to change this, and then it works. Yeah, that was the issue. So I don't like this arrowhead. Let's see if this like skinny one. That looks kind of like our style, right? What's our style? I don't even know.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool, yeah.
Or we can go for just like the lines. Where are the simple lines? This one, or that one. No, I think I prefer this wide lines thing. It's a little bit more simplistic. Okay, so it's going from this to this. It's gonna get smaller.
Gotta say, I'm really impressed with the range of different arrowheads. I think I mentioned on the previous stream that my usual tool of choice for the dodgy animations that I do on most of my videos is sadly PowerPoint, and I apologise if that triggers some of your viewers. I'm sure it will do. And the optionality is very, very much more limited.
Yeah, I mean, PowerPoint is a great tool. You can do a lot of things if you want to get a cool presentation on the road, but for design things, it's pretty limited. That's true.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I have to turn this back around. I've now put the arrowhead. Actually, yeah, we can do that. Let's have this one go backwards. Why not? Now I've turned it around again. Okay, let's go that way. And maybe.
So I'm just wondering for these ones, it might be useful to have them go in forwards or a bit more simplistic. Because I think then I'm just having a look through the rest of kind of the script here. Because I think then later it starts talking about going back. So maybe that's
okay. So this one's
time
just
to then bring in going back.
Yep, that's fine. So this one's just going this way. I think I need to extend this one. So this one's just gonna go down, and also, oops, no. Let's have this aligned with that, and maybe I want this one to not be quite so. Ooh, they are close together. Okay. My arrow is too big. Okay. No, I'm breaking it. So, just to make it clear, if I'm on a feedback call with a client, I'm not making the changes in front of their eyes. This is just for the stream. Basically, the reason I'm doing that is so that I can actually show the changes immediately instead of just writing it down and then doing it later, because that's not as interesting for the stream. But yeah.
Yeah, it always surprises me, Sonja, the streams that I've tuned in to kind of watch the magic unfold over the past few weeks. I'm always really impressed at kind of how much detail you go into with this stuff, and even I guess just even at a storyboard level, I'm like super impressed at kind of how much you kind of want to focus on getting stuff right. It's really, really cool.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the magic of doing a good animation versus a mediocre one. Like, I mean, there are different levels of doing this type of animation, and the level of detail will definitely depend on the budget. And since this is just for fun, I can make it as complex as I want, because there's no budget involved anyway. So I'm not running out of budget or anything like that.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I do enjoy it. I do enjoy adding the fine details and doing it like the proper way that sometimes a commercial client project doesn't allow for, because the budget doesn't allow for it. So I do enjoy adding all of this like extra detail to this.
I guess it's kind of bringing a bit of your personality to this as well, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I know when we were on the previous stream, you called out the little blob characters that appear, and that's something that I would never have had the creativity to kind of bring into this. So I think that's really cool.
Oh, thanks. Just want to check. Yeah, okay. Just checking the audio levels again. Okay, so there's a question in the chat. What is this? This is a explainer video design for an animation of a cybersecurity video that I'm doing in collaboration with Andy, who you can see on the screen as well as me. And this is the storyboard for it, and we're doing a client feedback session. It's not really a client feedback, but in the sense of how a client feedback session might go. So I hope that answers your question. Sorry, and wasn't too confusing. We have very hard water in Munich, and I'm arriving at the bottom of my cup, so I'm drinking up all of that lime scale.
Oh
Delicious.
no. Minerals.
Okay, so what do you think of this look? Does this kind of encapsulate what you were thinking of?
Yeah, I think that looks really cool. I guess I had originally thought just like a far more scruffy type set of arrows, but I think thinking about, I guess, the style of the rest of the video, I think this probably fits much better.
I mean, we can go that way too. If that's the look you prefer, we can go like, okay, and somebody just took this, like a printout of their map or whatever, this pirate, and they just like scrolling over the map. I mean, we can go that direction as well, because it does then also show that they have this blueprint of something, and now they're planning their attack, and they're just scribbling all over it. That can work as well. So it's just kind of, what do you prefer? We can go this clean route, or we can do the scribble.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. So one of the last bits of feedback I had on the list there was to show a similar representation of this with a blob kind of like pointing to it or talking to it. So this is on slide 101. Because I think you'd asked me, hey, the last part of, or the very final few parts of the storyboard, you felt like there needed to be something a bit more there. So that was kind of what I was thinking. So I think towards the end we kind of go back to this same imagery of the grid of the matrix, and yeah, having that slightly more freeform scribble might work well with that part of the imagery.
Okay,
Don't know what your
so
thoughts are.
that was the command and control, is that right? Let me check.
I think there's a little bit
I
afterwards.
can bring up the storyboard because I have it in two Illustrator files. The numbers don't necessarily continue after the first storyboard, but I can bring it up the way I sent it to you and refer to 101. Oh, okay, I see. So it's already at the kind of last screen of the Mitre attack framework when it comes back.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and then we can bring it back and it kind of shows that imagery again, basically.
Yeah, almost like a copy paste, really.
Yeah, okay, great. Okay, we can do the scribble. I'm gonna keep it like this just to kind of keep in mind what needs to be done here. And scribble style. I'll just add that to the comments here. Okay. So all the refinements of the quick edits that I've done here, they are going to have to happen like after this session. So I wonder, this one is rather an attack will use a combination of in order to achieve their objective. So we have this beginning part as well. We have two of these, the highlighting offensive cyber attack technique screens that are happening. So the second time we see the Mitre attack. So the first one is we're just showing the framework and nothing happens, and then we go into this and the CVE stuff. The second time we see it, there is already some highlighting going on, and I'll show you your rough storyboard just to verify. Is this the same? Are these the same visuals this time around and the second time around we see them?
So, yes. Yeah, if we're comparing to like the very, very first couple of frames, and then these ones that we've just been working on, it's effectively the same thing, yeah.
So okay, let me just read the script alongside the visuals, and then maybe I have a better idea. Each individual item is an offensive cyber technique. So in this frame, what I envisioned is they just get highlighted one after the other, and each one disappears as soon as the next one appears, because we're now just talking each individual item is a cyber attack. So right now, we're not actually discussing what the hacker would do. We're just explaining the framework, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly the thing I had in mind, yeah.
Okay, and then we're talking about the columns and how, okay, hang on. Grouped into columns, broadly aligned to the type of attack, blah, blah, blah. Aim to achieve. Note that hacking into a system is not a one-step process. Right. And then we have, I think at this stage, we would already have to get to the arrows.
Yeah, maybe start drawing.
Note that hacking into
the links between a few of them, yeah.
Not a one-step process. Yeah, I think this is where this thing starts being drawn up. Oh no, wait. Okay. Yeah, after a while of not working on the storyboard, you kind of forget what your thought process was. Okay, so my thought process here was, first we show the column, it's like one topic, one tactic. And then we're showing that a single one is not an attack. So actually we are only showing like one after the other, because at this point we're saying an attacker will use a combination of these techniques. And now we're showing the combination of the techniques essentially. Yeah. So this is that part. And then in order of the columns roughly matches the order of the attack, but then they might be using them out of order. Yeah, okay, cool. So it is essentially just this screen with the arrows. The other ones are still kind of explaining how the framework works.
Yeah.
So
And I think in a few frames time, we then talk about, like I say, that or mention that the although the order is generally from left to right, there may be cases where you kind of go back. I think it's like towards the end of this segment.
yeah, so I visualized that with the columns instead of with the singular attack. So here the columns kind of move
Okay.
forward, and then there's one where they choose a column before that. But you want this to be part of this screen. Is that right?
Of part of the circles and arrows. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
So maybe the the arrows part can kind of fade away temporarily whilst we then highlight the general left to right progression based on columns.
mhm.
But then after like a flash of left to right, then kind of go back to the arrows and kind of rejig things a little bit.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Okay, I'll remove this. Although in reality there's a fair bit of jumping around. Okay, in that case we're getting this back. I've just drawn it on top of everything, so I'm gonna have to organize this a little bit. So let me grab the arrows and group those. And then that happens here again, yeah. Although. And then there are some more arrows that are basically going back the other way. Oh, wrong. There. We don't want to move the framework. Let's grab one like here. And then we'll maybe go up here. Maybe something like that. So we
Yeah,
basically
that's starting to look really cool.
So we bring back the one we had before because we're showing, okay, they're going from one to the other, but sometimes they don't go in the same direction. They go back and they find other ones.
Indeed,
Something like that.
yeah. And hey, I'm just thinking about it. I don't know whether there's even a need to kind of take off the original kind of highlights and arrows. You could just even add the highlights of that kind of left to right progression just to kind of flash up, rather than take away all the arrows and then put them back on again.
Okay, yeah, sure. So, what you were thinking is we still do the whole column highlight though, right? Just over the top
Yeah,
of
yeah,
it. So basically,
yeah.
let's bring this over here. And let's jump in here. So basically, we just kind of highlight that column, then highlight the next column, but the arrows stay. So kind of something like that?
Yeah, I think that probably works. Yeah, I think that probably works nicely. And yeah, just like probably just even like a fairly quick flash across in maybe like a second or two,
Yeah.
just to kind of give a bit of that feeling. Yeah, I think that works really nicely.
Combination of techniques. Yeah, I can actually see it happening in such a way that we're maybe not starting with the very first one, but just so it doesn't go across the arrows that we already have, it just flashes over. As the arrows build up and as it highlights those sections, maybe then that pillar will get highlighted, something like that.
Ooh, that could be pretty cool. Nice.
Yeah, so I'll do something cool with that, and eventually this happens. Oh, what happened here? It's like behind it. Oh no, oh no, no! I pasted the arrows to all the artboards. Oh no.
How the hell do you even do that?
There's like just an alt that makes the difference. Hitting alt or not hitting alt makes the difference.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh dear. Okay. So let's grab it from here again. Yep. Copy. Do not hit alt. Do not hit alt. Okay. Oh, it's getting a little dark over here in my room. I wonder if I need to turn on the lights or not. Maybe I'll persevere a little bit longer. Okay, then we have that one. I won't do like the indication of how it animates on just now. I might do that once I'm finished with all the changes, and I'll show you the storyboard again. I'll do it then to give you more of a visual idea of what this might look like as an animation.
Awesome.
But I'll just keep it like this for now. And this is basically still this screen with an additional arrow. So what I can do here is I'll just remove the very last one. Just hide that. Oops, wrong one. No, which one is that? This one. So then we have like this like fake animation going on where it's like, oh, this one, and then there's this one. But anyway, we're going with the scribble look. It's not gonna look this way in the end. Okay, so I save that. Now let's go to the next piece. Link recon to the first column, include tactic names. Okay, let's have a look at that.
Yeah, so I was thinking to help with the kind of like the transition between viewing the matrix in its entirety and then actually then going through each of the techniques one by one. I was wondering how can we do that in a way that provides that linkage. So obviously reconnaissance is the first column in that table.
Mm-hmm.
So part of me was wondering, well, hey, at the moment, although we've got these generic boxes that say, hey, here's a heading in the table, would we or could we have the text for each of those items there? Which I don't know how well it would look because some of these techniques are of longer and shorter names from each other, so it might just be a little bit messy. Or I'm just trying to think of any way that we can link that first column
Mm-hmm.
in that table with then the title in the next slide of recon.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me think about that. We could, instead of having this animate off, which was the original idea, we can kind of zoom into that first column. Maybe we can do it that way. So I'll I'm thinking maybe we can turn this around. And oops, no, didn't mean to move that. That's weird. Okay, I think I need to bring the original back because this is not working the way I thought it would. Okay, there we go. So what we could do is as we zoom into here, we can still have the rest of it kind of animate off. And in the meantime, which group is that? This group. Okay. So we can zoom in. Somebody's doing building works in our flat. I don't know if you can pick up on that, but there's some scratching going on. Okay, so maybe something like this, and maybe we can have recon. Yeah, I don't know how well this is going to work with the longer names, but let's just try. Oops, no, did something weird. Okay, there we go. And then this could be white. Or maybe this could be highlighted in the blue. No, let's not do that. So as this animates off, we are left with this very last column. And let's move the text to this group. And then I'm thinking, I'm gonna have to think on this because I'm not super happy with how this looks right now. Also with the like zooming in and out, I don't know if that's like the right look.
Okay. Yeah, it's a tricky one.
Yeah, I don't know how to approach this. But it'll definitely be some combination of highlighting that first column and linking it to that being recon. I'm just not sure how. Maybe, okay, maybe we just bring in this recon title already up here. And maybe this happens differently. And also I don't like how this entire thing is going off screen, so maybe we won't zoom in. Let's see. Okay, so maybe we'll work with this. So it comes down a little bit as the title comes in, and we'll just move it to the center, and that way we're kind of saying, okay, this first column is recon. Maybe is that going to be enough to highlight it? What do you think?
I think so.
We can also use the blue color to kind of really make clear that we're talking about this first column.
Oh, so yeah, highlight it, yeah.
But I mean, it's going to be singled out anyway, as like the other columns kind of, animate away. This last one is going to be the last one standing.
Yeah, I guess if the others just disappear off, then maybe the highlight doesn't really add much.
Yeah.
I just wonder if is there then a way that text recon can emerge from that heading, maybe? Or again, is that just going to look a bit weird, do you think?
Yeah, it won't look very elegant, that's for sure.
Right.
I wonder how, if you're not quite happy with this look yet, I wonder how else we can then highlight it a little bit more. What we could do is so basically what it would look like in the end is, I'll just show you that. Okay, it's getting very dark in my room. I'm gonna have to turn on the lights. Hang on. All right. So I'll just give you a preview. Basically, I always miss one of them. They are gonna move off screen, not quite, like this, but basically they're gonna disappear tactic by tactic, column per column, okay? Until
makes sense.
This is kind of gone. Oh, something's broken again. And then we'll just have this last one standing as recon kind of comes onto screen. And there is a very specific animation that I'm thinking of for the text, which I would like to keep consistent across the animation, which is this, what I've tried to indicate here. It kind of, this frame kind of opens up to reveal the text, kind of like this.
Okay,
you can, imagine what that might look like. So first,
almost like it's being typed as type
yes,
thing. Or...
yeah. So first we see nothing, then there is a little line that grows, and then this line widens open to reveal this text. So,
okay, yeah.
So that's how I'm thinking all of them might come on. Or we could also do, especially when they're up at the top, we can do like, let me grab this. We can do like this type of thing. It just kind of comes off screen onto screen there. That's the other option.
Okay. I mean, I think that the first one is just more stylistic, right? It looks cooler.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, that's how I imagine this recon. Also, do you prefer this to be written out, reconnaissance or recon?
Great question.
I mean, you are saying reconnaissance, and I think a lot of people are familiar with the word recon. So if you hear reconnaissance and see recon, then, they'll make the connection. That was my idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
But feel free to disagree.
I guess, is there any downside to having the longer form?
Not really. The first reason was that. The second reason, when it was larger, it was just going off screen. But I can make it the full word. I just can never remember how to spell it. Where do you say that?
Oh yeah, no idea. I rely on spell check.
It's like Renaissance, but reconnaissance. Reconnaissance. Like that, right? I think.
I think so.
I'll check it later. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, that size doesn't seem too bad.
Yeah, this size it's fine. I mean, if you prefer it spelled out, we can go that way. I don't mind.
Yeah, I reckon, yeah, have it the full length.
Sure, that's fine. So I'm thinking, you know, as this animates away and it reveals this last column, and then you see reconnaissance coming onto the screen. Do you think the connection is enough there to connect the title with the first column that you see?
Yeah, I think so, particularly if that lone column maybe just stays there on the screen for a second or half a second or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe just to provide that linkage. I think, yeah, that works really well. And then that can like drop away, revealing the rest of the animation. I think that works really well, yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, let's do it that way then. I'll just bring it back so we have like this this like fake animation going on here. Oh, whoops. Bit too much masking. Okay, and then we get to this screen, and I guess I can bring this back to here. And I'll just skip this step, frankly. Oh, they're together. Whoops. Okay, let me paste that here for now. And like that. And here we only see the very last column. Like that. So then it'll appear like this. We see this, then that disappears. This kind of, you know, comes into the center as the columns disappear. Then we see the lone column, and then we start with the visuals.
Yeah, I think that works really nicely.
Okay, great. Excellent.
Awesome.
Okay, incorrect title. Incorrect title. Let's see. What is the incorrect title? It's 55. 55. Oh, that's the next storyboard.
Can't even remember that myself.
That's this one. Resource development. That might well be true. So this one common theme across the various techniques is desire to not be spotted. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I think it's because it happens here, right? There shouldn't... What? I'm not sure.
I think the title should be, Defense Evasion. That's it.
Let's see. Ah, yes, okay. Yeah, I just didn't change
Just to copy paste.
Yeah, yeah, copy pasted it and I didn't change it. So, defense evasion, right? Defense evasion. Is that how you spell it? I hope so.
Not sure. I'm like 5 seconds behind on the screen here.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right. Defense evasion. Let's adapt that. And this actually doesn't appear here. Privilege escalation. Yep. Okay, great. All right. Yeah, so basically, you were saying that you would like the blob to be red. So because we're working with the limited color palette, I've designated the blue color to be the evil color, the bad color. So anytime something is blue, not for like the small things like the axis and this, but anytime something big is blue, like this guy, or here we're working, all of the hacker stuff is blue, the malware is blue, you know. So the blue is kind of the replacement for the red. That was the idea behind it.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I guess that makes a lot of sense, and I think it obviously works nicely with the rest of the palette. The one thing I'm just conscious of in cyber, usually blue is defensive. So
I see.
we will talk about people being on the blue team, as in like the defensive
Oh,
team,
I see. Oh
versus
no.
people on the red team, which are those that will kind of do the attacking. So that's the only kind of niggle that I've got there.
No, that
But
throws my
I
entire color palette out of the window.
Oh no.
No.
Although to be honest, yeah, it's obviously not a big deal because there's clearly no red anywhere in here, right? And I totally get that this is part of the theme, right?
Yeah.
It's part of the palette. Um,
But it makes sense
so
though. If that's already a known thing within your industry, then it makes sense to keep that.
and
I
it'd
can
be
find a
interesting
red.
yeah, it'd be interesting to see, even just on one frame, how does that work with the rest of the palette? Because
Sure.
I'm really conscious that the palette is more of like a bluish, purplish palette, and red might just look rubbish. I don't know. It's not something I'm like absolutely wedded to, but it'd be interesting to see whether that would work or not, or maybe just one or two frames.
I can show you that very quickly. This is gonna affect everything that's blue, but just so you can
Oh,
have an idea, I can put this back. I saved a red because yeah. So for your logo, I did change the colors just slightly, just to kind of
oh
work with
yeah,
the so they work better with the color palette. So I can
yeah, just
use
like calm
this.
them down a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I can use this red. Yeah, they're just a little bit more muted. So I
yeah.
can use that and just give you a quick idea of what that might look like. So, so this would be the red with, there is like a bunch of other stuff highlighted that's also red. That's not part of what I'm trying to show you, but essentially this would be it. We also
Hmm.
have the other red, which is a little bit more muted. Um, But yeah, the idea was, I'm conflicted now because what you're saying makes absolutely complete sense to keep that kind of visual identity, if you want to call it that, of the attacker being the red team. That makes
Yeah.
perfect sense. But yeah, it's like, no, my pretty palette.
Oh no. Oh dear. Yeah, I don't yeah, that red, I'm not sure if it that's and this is what I was worried about. I'm not sure whether it really goes with the other colours.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
or maybe it just needs to be even more muted, like a quite a darker red, maybe. I don't know.
We can try that.
Um,
Okay, so what I did earlier, last time, I went to a page called coolers.co. And you can have like a generator, and you can add the colors that you're already using, and then find matching
oh,
colors for that, or for those
that's
colors.
very cool.
So let's go with this the light black. Where am I? Here. And I can add that here. And then I can add the blue that we're using. Ah, damn it. Keep pressing the wrong window. Add that here. And then we can also grab the gray maybe. And that can go here. And I can then lock these, and I can also move them to a different spot so that I can find the red in here. And then what you do is you press, I think, spacebar. Yeah, spacebar. And it kind of cycles through. So this is, I think, the red that we already had. This could be an option. Oh, my Illustrator is starting to get very, very slow. Oh, what did I do? It's actually a lighter red, but it's less saturated, so I think it works a little bit better. But yeah, red is a difficult color because it stands out so much and all the rest of it is so muted.
Yeah. Oh, it's a tricky one, isn't it?
I think this is very similar to the one. You mean the only other way is probably to get... Oh, damn it. Okay, you can't go backwards, so you just have to keep generating. Once you're past something, you're like, yep, that's gone forever. I mean, it will come back because it's trying to generate colors that are very similar to what you already have, so I think we need to go more in the maroon direction. Well, it's very similar to what we already have, but I can try it out.
It's strange because on coolers there it looks like it works well, but then
yeah, then you put it in
for some
here.
reason it doesn't feel like it's working quite so good on the actual page.
Yeah, it's so strange. Sometimes you just need to like actually put it in your scene because sometimes it just doesn't. You won't see it accurately just laid out next to each other like this until you put it in your scene.
What if his hat and his mask was the light blue colour?
We can try that. Oh,
I'm worried this is going to look terrible.
yeah, that's not great. So I changed that back very quickly.
Yeah. You can tell there's a few seconds delay on the screen. I just saw that as horrendous.
Okay, so I found this maroon color. It'll show up in just a minute for you. That could work. I'm still not a huge fan of anything red in this design. But this is more of the maroon color. This is probably as muted as it can go. So if you compare the blue of the lock on the bottom screen with the big little guy. Yeah, so...
Yeah. It's strange because it seems to work quite nicely in that lower view where the little blob person's a lot smaller. I think maybe it's just on that first screen where the blob's bigger that it just looks a bit weird.
Yeah. So essentially it's down to you. Do you want to go this route? We can go with this color and I can recolor everything that needs to be like evil hacker thing with this red. That will, however, also mean that all of this is gonna have to be that red because I have gone and designated this like red color to all of the evil stuff.
Yeah. It's a tricky one.
Yeah. I mean, you can think on it. This is what it essentially would look like here, for example, like that. I need a different color for this, but so it would basically appear like this, more or less. So that's the comparison, these two frames.
Yeah, I mean, I personally like the blue color a lot more, just in terms of a palette and a style, and that it's tricky.
So how can we find a solution? Let's think. Can
we change the color of his hat or his mask or something?
I'll just go
instead of changing the color of him.
Yeah, maybe we can try that. So that would be then the red, yes. Oops, I highlighted the wrong thing.
So in other cybersecurity terminology, where I spoke before about the blue team tending to be defenders and the red team tending to be attackers, there's also a hat metaphor as well.
Yes.
You have black hat hackers who are basically the bad hackers who will do things for their own personal gain. And then you have white hat hackers who are again kind of like the good hackers and do things for positive benefit and that kind of thing. And then there's the murky world in between of the grey hat hacker who maybe has good intentions but doesn't necessarily always go about delivering them in the right way. So that's, I guess, another bit of the symbolism that might come into this. But then again, I think for the kind of the style we're going for, I'm not sure whether that will work or not.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. And since this is the little blob dude is the hacker person, the black hat thing, the symbolism behind that would work. But yeah, I don't know if you saw, I just changed it to red and it looked kind of terrible. I wonder, I'm wondering if there is any other way I can bring the red in without, losing the style, or just maybe we can just. But yeah, this is the problem, because I've designated that color to be the evil color. Everything kind of doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean the fact that this little blob's got a mask on, that kind of adds a bit of evil as well, right?
One common theme across the various techniques. I'm just gonna read through the script again. Therefore, an attacker may take advantage of the event, taking any alerts, or cover their attacks. Yeah, it's the issue I'm having now is color is such a strong storyteller, essentially. It tells you, it carries symbolism, it, especially if in a specific area, like in your industry, there is already symbolism associated to certain color groups. It makes sense to use those, and that would really require to recolor this entire thing to kind of match that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's I guess the frustrating part, right? Because actually, I really quite like this kind of scheme. I think it otherwise works really, really well. And I guess part of me is thinking, hey, is this really much of an issue? Because it's not as if there's a whole variety of different colors that are in this video, and of all the rainbow of different colors that are appearing, we're using blue for the evil, because that would be kind of stupid. But because this is like a very limited palette, I don't think it's like too much of an issue, really.
I mean, as long as you're okay with it, we can go down that route. But it's like, there's this little voice in my head. It's like, but blue means something else, and you've used it for the exact opposite. Yeah, that's a real shame. Well, we can think about it, and you can let me know in a few days' time if you've changed your mind and you're like, no, it definitely needs to be changed, or yes, it's definitely fine and we can go ahead with that. We can just let that rest for a little bit, and you can think about it. And then we can make a decision on if this needs to be changed. But yeah, keep in mind that if we need to change it, we'll probably need to change everything that has to do with the hacker, just so that storyline visually is cohesive.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll ponder that one a little bit.
Yeah. There's also the argument to be made that I did use the blue occasionally for something else that isn't hacking related. I've used it I've mostly used it for hacking, but I've used it for the little icon here on this little window. I've used it just as a highlight line. I think I've used it, for this lock, which, doesn't signify that it's an evil lock. It just means it's a lock. But it can be a different color. That's, there's also that. So there is that. I can be a little bit more stringent and take the blue out This is a separate question, really. I can take the blue out even more to signify even more that the blue is like the evil thing that is happening, or we can decide to take the blue out for the hacker related stories. So there is also that on top of the original consideration. But yeah, now that I'm talking about that, I definitely want to change this first lock to a different color, because I don't want it to be linked to the hacking activity. As I just said, it needs to be the...
Sure.
Yeah. And maybe also in this iconography, because the center dot doesn't have anything to do with the hacker, but the linking lines actually do. So I'm gonna change those.
So you could say that center dot is it's that initial machine that an attacker has managed to compromise.
Yeah,
So actually,
okay, yeah.
colouring it in is probably quite appropriate.
Okay, that makes sense then. Yeah.
Yeah.
I then just need to make sure... Oh, yeah, and I also didn't... I recolored the framework because I took out the blue in that, because I, made it more like the blue was bad. So I've taken out the blue everywhere I could. That wasn't here. It's just like a minimal thing, but I can also change that. I can take that out. Actually, instead of blue, this can be white, for example. That way, we've taken it out of the context of not being evil, for example.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's a separate consideration. If we decide to go with the blue being the evil color, maybe we can support that idea with taking the blue out of things that aren't related to the hacker.
Okay, yeah.
For example. Okay, so.
All right.
Let's put that on the back burner for now and come back to that. And just because we're running quite long already, I'm thinking maybe we can do one more and then wrap it up and then pick it back up for another session. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Cool. So let's do this last one. Show several padlocks unlocking. Okay, so this is for the padlocks that I was just looking at. 62. Oh yeah, I don't know what 62 is. I'm gonna have to go here. 62.
Yeah, it was for the
Yep.
Yeah, it's for the privilege escalation part, and yeah, I think when I originally sent you my storyboard, I probably had this. I think this was the one that I had blank in terms of I've got no idea what imagery would work here at all, and I think the imagery that you've kind of put in and proposed there of the little blob climbing the ladder in terms of escalating their privilege, I think I'm not sure how well that then works when the blob gets knocked off his ladder. So I was almost thinking, hey, as Blob is climbing the ladder, if there's if the padlocks are maybe arranged vertically, so as he climbs each one, that padlock unlocks, or he unlocks it, or it falls open, or whatever it may be. But then maybe Blob gets to the highest padlock, and that is then the one that he cannot open, and that's what knocks him off the ladder, and that then nicely then pushes us into the discussion around credential access to then get more access to then unlock that more that stronger padlock, or whatever we want to call it.
That makes sense. I was kind of struggling with that screen, so that makes a lot more sense than what I was thinking of. Great. So just one question, because we're talking about two level of access, which is the administrator level and the system level of privileges, and that's why I had the two padlocks. Were you then thinking not to have two padlocks next to each other because the dude has already been knocked off by the first padlock that he couldn't access, and that's just that one? Or should a second one appear the way I had it in the storyboard in the final stages?
Good question. So let's have another look here. So, oh yeah, I see. So it's almost like that second padlock is appearing, and that's what kind of knocks him off the ladder. Is that what you mean?
Well, the first padlock is representative of the administrator level, which is the first barrier, I guess. But then you're mentioning system level privileges. So in my mind was like there is the lower level and then there is a higher level, and he can't access either of them. Or was your idea that the lower level are the ones that he can access, and then the higher levels, the system level privileges, which are higher than administrator, for example, that's the one he can't access?
Yeah, I think that probably works nicer in my
Yeah.
mind.
Okay, let's do it that way.
Yeah. And then again, looking through the imagery for that credential access, I mean that kind of links in with those padlocks as well. And you've got this kind of ID card coming in that then unlocks that one that had previously knocked a little blob off the ladder.
Okay, yeah, great. Let's do it that way.
I think that could work really nicely. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just try and create an open padlock. Okay, there it is. And that means I don't need the second one, but this first one. Then I don't have the color issues either, so that's great.
Excellent.
So I'm going to, you know what? I'm gonna try and break this, and hopefully it will be fine. Okay, that's the whole thing. Okay. I need to cut this open. Then I need to cut this open. And then... Great. Got it. And so this one will be open. Oops. Okay, something went wrong. Oh no. Huh. Oh, I see. This one has the extra line. There we go. And we want to see more than one of these locks, right? So maybe... maybe we can move this one out of the way. Maybe I'll do that in the next screen. Okay.
I guess it's tricky with the aspect ratio of the screen, but yeah, I think a vertical alignment would probably work quite nicely with the climbing the ladder metaphor.
Yeah. It totally makes sense. So we've got the next lock coming in, and that lock will be the one that's closed. Oops. I need to get rid of my excessive amounts of locks. Excellent. And then yeah, great. I just need to add this to the rest of the scene so they all match. Oh, yeah, I should probably keep the frame. Oh no. Oh no, and then we continue with that. No! Okay, I'll do that another time. It's just a matter of copy and pasting. So, basically, we see the lock. He's scaling the screen. Then he gets to the lock, it unlocks. He keeps scaling, which we in this particular screen don't see. I need to copy him over, and then he arrives at another lock, and this one is closed and he cannot open it, and that's why he falls off the ladder. How's that? And then we do,
I think that works pretty awesome.
This, and I replace the double lock here at a different stage. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
that's great. Thanks. That really improved the screen. You had a great idea. Something I couldn't solve.
Yeah, well, hey, I think you certainly moved a lot more from my blank page of I don't know, I'll let you know.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I think we came together. We came up with a really great solution here. I had a hard think on the screen. I'm like, okay, scaling something, ladder. Yeah, let's go with that metaphor. There's a few iteration of this screen. How I could also merge this with the computer screen with the credential access, so it's not like two different scenes, but they kind of work together. And now we've, leveled up, and it's even more sophisticated. Excellent.
It's looking awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I can't wait to start animating this. It's going to be awesome. All right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the little blob doing things. Is that going to be the sound effects? Huh?
I'll be recording that.
Nice.
Okay, so let's stop it here for now. We'll have another feedback session. I didn't think it was going to take this long. I guess I kind of didn't expect that. Oh yeah, once we're doing this feedback, I'm applying the feedback at the same time. But I think without doing that, it might have been a little bit too much talking and not enough showing for the stream. So that's why I decided to do that. I'll switch back to our other frame where we can see you. And I think I need to check for the double sound here. Okay, it should be fine. You shouldn't have an echo. Everything should be fine. Okay, so...
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, hopefully. I can see that the Skype call audio is working and that the desktop audio is turned off, so there shouldn't be any echo. Okay, well, I hope you, Andy, enjoyed going through the process of making the changes to your video, essentially. And I hope you viewers had fun watching us do that and kind of, come up with creative solutions on the spot. And also, I think you saw a little bit the designer versus client, where you came up with a design that you're super happy with, but now the client comes back with feedback that kind of clashes with that. So you kind of have to find a compromise between your stylistic idea or your stylistic expectation and the client's wishes, because in the end, you are doing it for the client. So you have to find a common ground where you can incorporate what the client is expecting from this product. So, yeah. Any last words, Andy?
Hey, no, it has been super fun, Sonja. Thanks again for inviting me to do this collab. It's been really, really good fun. And as I mentioned before, it's so pleasing to see the terrible scribbles that I make get turned into something so beautiful and that actually helps portray what's quite a challenging topic to get across to people that are maybe completely new to some of this stuff. So I think it's looking really, really cool. And yeah, looking forward to the next session to cover off the rest of the feedback and ultimately to see stuff start to move as well, right?
Yeah, I'm so excited for the animation part. But one thing that I'd like to highlight is that your script was so well written. It's really to the point at explaining in quite simple but understandable terms what is supposed to be happening in this video, which helped me in illustrating the storyboard. So good job on that, Andy.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, really. It's a topic that I didn't think I was going to understand. There's like sometimes you work for a client on a client project and they've delivered the script and they're like, yeah, this is what we want to say. And there isn't really, you're not in a position of giving feedback on that. So you just, as a designer or as an animator, you just kind of jump on it, you use it, and you create the graphics that they've told you to create without really understanding what they want to say. It does happen.
Sure.
So, but in this case, it wasn't, and it actually helped me find the correct kind of visual aids or the design for the story. So, yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. And I mean, certainly this video I was hoping would be a little more simple than some of my other videos, many of which they are pretty techy. They're mostly kind of screen captures of actual simulated hacks and defenses and this kind of thing. Whereas I was really aiming for this video that we've been working on to be far more accessible to folks that are just getting started in cybersecurity, or maybe don't really know much about it at all, and they might just stumble across it and be like, "Oh, that's really interesting. I'd never even thought about any of this stuff before." So no, that's really cool to hear that it was fairly digestible by yourself.
Yeah, you definitely achieved that, because I knew nothing about this topic. I mean, I know a little bit on the general cybersecurity sides, like don't use the same password, don't make password your password and stuff like that, but nothing to this level of Well, deep information, basically. So yeah, it really did explain this whole framework to me. I'm like, oh, that's a thing, or that's what they try to do. Oh, this is how they set it up. Like, it does really explain it very well. So good job, Andy.
Oh, brilliant. Good stuff. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
and also what I really enjoyed is illustrating because I always thought of myself as an animator. I am a motion designer, but for many that means you do the entire design, you do the illustration, you do the storyboard, you animate the whole thing, and you basically produce the entire thing. But in my career, often what has been the case is that I only animated. I've had a design
Mm.
department or I've had illustrators that I worked with in collaboration, and often I was just the animator. And in this and so I was always in the past afraid to say that I can animate, I can illustrate, because I'm like, I can't really illustrate, you know? And then I made this and I'm like, oh, I can illustrate. I mean, to be
Hey.
fair, I did use stock graphics. I didn't come up with everything from scratch, but I did come up with, like, let's say, visualizing this scene. You know, nobody told me how to do that. All I did was to make my process a little bit faster and easier. I got these graphics and I plugged them into my design. But in the end, I came up with an entire storyboard and I was like, what? I came up with a storyboard. So it really gave me a lot of confidence as an illustrator. I can actually honestly say I can illustrate, you know? So you've
Oh,
given me
awesome.
this
Absolutely.
opportunity.
Oh, brilliant. Good stuff. Well, hey, like I say, to me, this it's absolute magic, like I say, turning scribbles into something that looks as awesome as it does. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of fun. I thought I was a little scared of it, like I said, because I wasn't sure if I could illustrate it. But it's been a lot of fun. It's given me a lot of confidence, and I can't wait
Yes.
to get to the animation process and make all of this move. So, yeah, until then, we still have quite a few sessions to go. We need to finish the feedback. I need to actually set up the files for animation. So, that's going to be at least 2 more streams for those of you who are waiting for the animation process. But then I'm going to start animating. And we're going to see each other very soon to finish this feedback session, Andy.
Sounds good.
Thanks for joining today, and thanks for all of you for joining this stream. I'll let you know when the next stream is. It'll depend on Andy's schedule. We'll discuss that, and then I will let you know when we're continuing this collaboration with Andy as my special guest. And until then, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to support me, subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe to Andy. You'll find the link to his YouTube channel in the description. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.